Hello and welcome to this Websites Decoded site submission, where we take your websites and look at what we would do to improve their demand generation performance. Today we have Bitlog submitted by Fia Johnson. Thank you, Fia. Let's go and take a look and see what we can find. Okay, here we have the Bitlog homepage, and straight away I've got to give them credit for having such a clear and concise homepage hero statement. We've talked about the potential problems here frequently, in that many B2B businesses have overly complicated, overly confusing statements that leave people guessing, leave people wondering what's on offer and who it's for on the site they're on. That's not the case here. Visitors to this website know exactly what they're looking at and exactly what this company offers, which is great. If anything could be done to further improve or enhance the effectiveness of this homepage hero value proposition, it would be including something to emphasize who exactly this warehouse management system is for. Who benefits most from Bitlog? Is that organizations of a certain size, with a certain number of sites in certain sectors or verticals, whatever it may be. Just increasing the focus on the ideal customer there might create even more affinity with the ideal customer when they visit, and it might also deter the wrong kind of customer, converting, entering the pipeline potentially, and consuming sales resources without there being much likelihood of them closing. And so that will create greater efficiency in the sales machine too. So by bringing into the homepage hero some element of who is the ideal customer, you could make it work even harder for you. The copy below the title does speak to key benefits, which I think are really good. It would appear that in this industry, things being cloud-based, being scalable, and being upgraded freely and over time, is relatively novel and new still. And so to have those things called out here is good. The image is nice, but it doesn't show me the software clearly enough to truly support the message, to support the claim. Buyers of SaaS products have shown us marketers over and over again that they want to see the software and they want to see it clearly. They are not overly fussed about or by lifestyle images, stock photography, mock-ups, etc. They want to see the software. So I'd be taking those screenshots either out of the phones altogether, or at least presenting them squarely, and making it really clear what is being shown in that screenshot in this position. We've also got sliding logos, a good proof point on this homepage, but the motion is probably distracting from the main message. Motion on websites really does distract the human eye, the human brain, and it makes it harder for us to consume the content and focus on what we're reading. So I'd be fixing those logos in place, picking the best, and maybe personalizing them to the visitor if you have the power through your CMS or content management system. Personalizing them based on geography or sector or anything else, but doing away with the movement, which isn't really helping anybody and isn't improving performance of this section overall. As we scroll down the homepage, we see use cases well signposted, which is great if buyers want to explore those specific areas. Your website traffic data will tell you if those are the best ones, as will SEO information, keyword volumes, and so on. We see results-backed testimonials, which I really like. It's always good to call out stats and numbers that support and back up the claims that you're making, and the statements in the user stories that you share, so that's really good. We see some key features called out in quite a nice section here. However, I think there's opportunity to do more with this. So as I said earlier, it appears that automatic upgrades, full scalability, all the benefits of cloud are new and novel and attractive in this sector. Each of these features could be presented individually, which would make it easier to use a font size that was more legible. This text is a little hard to read compared to the rest of the site, and to prevent an image statically without having to hover over it to get the right image. And of course, the same point applies, that this screenshot on a phone on an angle isn't clear enough for me to really see what it is I'm being shown and to know that it supports the statement that I'm reading as well. So you could present these screenshots in a more effective way if they were square on, static, and aligned to each individual feature. And I don't think that would harm the user experience at all. I think it would improve it. You've got pricing and packages coming in below, which we'll talk about in a bit. And you've got a video back testimonial, which is no bad thing too. You've got some resources, which is fine. And then you've got a form, which is, in my opinion, a little bit overwhelming and lacks a clear and specific call to action. I doubt that this form is getting a lot of attention, a lot of action. Discover Bitlog is one of those calls to action that doesn't really mean much to the visitor, doesn't exactly explain what will happen if they complete it. So they're more likely to use other forms where the give and get is clearer, I think. We've got other forms that they need, book a demo, contact us, around the site. This is a candidate for removal on any page that it's on for me, because it's probably not getting a lot of interaction. And it's just quite disruptive in how it's presented. So a simple fix that's easy to implement. If we have a quick look at the navigation, we see, a device appropriate. On desktop here, it's navigation that's horizontal, and it's compressed behind a burger on mobile. So we see device appropriate navigation being used, which is familiar and intuitive and correct for the visitor. So that's great. We've talked a lot about how tempting it is to style your navigation either behind a burger or vertically on desktop, and how bad that is for the user experience. This is fine. This is great. We've got a simple, well-worded, intuitive navigation with simple drop-downs. There aren't any overwhelming mega menus. They don't need them. They haven't used them. That's great. Perhaps one thing that could be thought about a bit and improved is the language of the main product navigation. So the issue here is that there's a mixture of terminologies being used to differentiate one tier of the product from another. So we've got 4.1 warehouse followed by advanced warehousing. Now, a visitor that hasn't really fully consumed all of the content on the website may not understand how advanced warehousing differs from one warehouse. It could be an oversimplification to say, multi-site warehousing. I'm not suggesting that's necessarily the correct answer, but it would nevertheless make more sense alongside one warehouse. As it stands, we've got two methods of distinguishing businesses, potentially a third if you consider that enterprise could be different from advanced and from number of warehouses in terms of how it describes the user. And so that may be creating friction for a visitor and making it harder for them to find the content that they really need and want to consume. Furthermore, the contents of our primary navigation is often a reflection of what our URLs look like and what keywords we either are or want to be ranking for. And so again, improvements here to the clarity might turn into improvements in the URL structure, in the SEO, in the keywords that we're optimized for, and our position for those keywords. So it's potentially a really attractive thing to focus on. And we see a very good, very clear primary call to action over here on the right hand side with good contrast and with a good offer, book a demo. Buyers will typically like that and respond to that. We'll look at what the page that they get to when they click on that looks like a little bit later on in the video. If we have a look now at some of the product pages, we'll see clear copy that's easy to read and intuitive to consume. And we'll see again an opportunity to use screenshots better in a clearer, more instantly legible fashion. This one is square on, which is a step in the right direction, but it's still too small for me to really see what's being communicated by it. So we either need to present that screen size larger or pull out a key section of it so it's really clear what we're trying to communicate in this section. As we scroll down, one of the first things that we see is packages / pricing and customer stories. I think it's a little bit early to be introducing this content on this page. Visitors to this page are probably still trying to form an opinion about whether this product meets their needs or even exceeds them. They're probably still interested in learning about whether features that they consider critical are included, and maybe discovering some that they weren't anticipating but nevertheless get them really excited. So I would be looking for more feature-based information and putting it earlier on the page, and only following up with supporting information like packages available, like customer success stories and testimonials, once we've got those key messages across. And again, throughout, I would like to see more screenshots that clearly support the content. Abstract illustrations, stock photography, things of this nature have a place, they serve a purpose, but they're usually going to be bettered by a good, clear screenshot that shows the customer exactly what the software looks like when they're using the feature that's being described. If we go one page deeper in the navigation, we see more information on features relating to this specific product. And this is great. I think this is what the buyer will be looking to see on this page. I would simply say that you could give each of these more space, more content, and supporting images to really confirm to visitors that you have the features they require, that they consider critical, and some that they didn't expect or weren't thinking about but are nevertheless really excited to learn about. That would be the best way to use this content in this page, to my mind. Really sort of overcoming any objections and telling them again and again that if there's a feature that they think is important, you have it. There's some key points signposted here. You know, as we mentioned, it would appear that in this industry, modern features like mobile apps, browser-based access, and so on are not so common. So it's good to signpost them. But again, I'd be describing them in more detail. Not overwhelmingly long copy, of course, but a little bit more detail for each, and a supporting screenshot for each to really get across the value that these great developments, offer the buyer of this solution. If we go and look now at the pricing page, we will see a pretty familiar 3-column layout, something that I think B2B buyers are pretty familiar with and comfortable with. We see clear and transparent pricing, so that's great. Visitors are in no doubt exactly what this will cost them to implement, and we'll probably be starting to understand the packaging a little bit more here than perhaps earlier on in the journey, hence why I think this is the right place to introduce it potentially. Alongside each of these packages, we have a CTA, which is Learn More. And this CTA, in fact, takes the visitor, as you can see, back to the product page on that package. Now, that's, for me, not the optimum user flow. I'd rather we were catering to buyers who were coming to the website, exploring the product, reviewing pricing, and then acting on their intent by converting. And so alongside, if not in place of these Learn More CTAs, which are really links backwards in the journey, I'd like to see the book a demo or any other relevant commercial call to action offered here to, capture that moment of intent when it exists and get people into conversation with sales. You could also modify or signpost this a bit better so that people understand it's going to go back and it's going to take them back to pages that are about features, as opposed to taking them forward in the journey to either book a consultation or read something further along the purchase process, which Learn More might get people thinking. It's not 100% clear what happens when you click Learn More, you see. We've then got a testimonial on the page and a global CTA, which are fine, but they are working to potentially diminish the value of this really great comparison feature table below. Something like this green bar can create a false floor effect where buyers think they're at the bottom of the page, they think there's nothing more to see, and they use navigation to go elsewhere. And by far, this is the most important piece of content after the pricing table on this page. It would make great sense to move this up locate it immediately after pricing so that people can, dive right in and understand what features they will get at each tier, really understand the pricing and how it breaks down, and then follow it up by all means with your proof point. That's great. And your general CTA, which again probably won't get heaps of engagement in this format, but they can be the end of the page. This comparison table up alongside the pricing table would be a really good move. Before we go and look at the book a demo page, the ultimate conversion point on the website, just want to quickly click on the About Us page, because interestingly enough, it's here that we find exactly the kind of screenshot that I would like to see throughout the site. Here we've got a screen from the software presented in a highly legible format. It's easy to read. I can see exactly what's being shown. It's not got the phone mock-up or the clutter around it. This is exactly what we could be using throughout the site to show people we have the features you're looking for. We have additional features you hadn't even thought about, and we can do everything that you need from this software, in addition to being cloud-based, scalable, upgraded automatically, and so on. So it was a pleasant surprise to find these on the About Us page, and I think the priority would be now to take that to the rest of the site. If we do click on Book a Demo, we get to a nice clean page that's probably converting quite nicely. The form is good. What I think is potentially detrimental is that the language here is not consistent with the offer of Book a Demo. We say we explore your needs, challenges, and solutions. That's a consultation. When buyers click Book a Demo, they want to be shown the software, they want to have it demonstrated, they want to have their questions answered, and they may allow you to consult them during or at the end of that process. But by signposting that we're going to actually lead with that consultative process, we're making it a sales call. And that's going to decrease the willingness and the rate at which buyers convert on this page and take that offer for a demo. Now, funnily enough, Talk to Sales is a perfectly good and quite effective call to action on its own. The key is being honest and specific about what you're asking for and what you're going to give in return. So I would advise that Bitlog test, if they haven't already, having both Talk to Sales and Book a Demo calls to action on their hero, in their navigation, and using language that's aligned to both on pages that are unique to each to give buyers what they're offering them. Give them a demo if they request a demo, and talk to them about their requirements if they ask to talk to sales. Both calls to action have proven to be effective in a wide range of B2B settings. Now, every business is different, and in time, Bitlog might have the data to be able to say whether one or the other of those offers doesn't close nearly as effectively as the other, and therefore it doesn't make sense to offer it at all. But buyers respond best to clear, specific, honest, and mutually beneficial calls to action. So if you're going to offer buyers a demo, tell them it's a demo, give them a demo, and that's all. And that will increase the level of affinity, the level of trust, the level of respect that you earn, and increase the close rate and the ultimate results that you see. Whereas trying to flip one request into another is going to harm your conversion rates. Okay, there we have it. I really want to thank Bitlog for submitting their website and give them credit for creating such a good B2B website, generally speaking, especially for using such clear language on their homepage. It's by far one of the most common mistakes we see in B2B website design, and it has a huge impact on your ultimate performance. So credit to them for doing so there. There's a lot that's good about this website, and there's a few things that I think they could improve as well that would drive up conversions and improve demand generation.